Welcome back to the channel. It is RacerX, and I'm back with my good buddies here at Meador Dodge in Southwest Fort Worth. And today I've got a little bit of an interesting video together for you. Today I came across some information that actually was just complete news to me, but unfortunately it's going to affect the supply of our beloved Mopars, and not just Mopar. It's going to affect really the entire car industry. So I definitely want to share that with you. I do also want to mention, if you are new to my channel, do me a big gigantic favor, hit that subscribe button. It is located down there right on the bottom. Also, you can follow me on my Instagram page. I've got a merch store down there. If you want to go ahead and check out some of my merchandise, go ahead and do that. And also hit that notification bell for more great content. And here we go. We got the 1,000 horsepower helmet. Gosh. Okay, Dodge is doing what? Again? Well, slap me around and call me Susan.
I warned you, Susan.
So as we know, 2020 was just a really weird and basically a really sucky year. And for guys like me who are big car nuts, we saw a lot of changes in the automotive industry. Now, demand actually stayed pretty high on all of our performance vehicles, believe it or not. However, supply was drastically affected, really all the way across the board, because there were so many factory shutdowns. It was hard to get components in. It's still affecting a lot of industries out there, including the car industry. Now, as people started to go back to work, people started to get back into factories, we started to see cars being produced again. We saw our supply start to go back up again. So it was kind of crazy, because a lot of dealerships were charging over sticker price for just your standard scat packs and RTs and all sorts of weird things. But obviously, as supply continued to increase, those numbers came back to normal again. But unfortunately, I came across an article that was recently written, and some more news that told me that FCA and Dodge, they've closed down once again, and it's going to be at least 3 weeks before they reopen. But it is for a reason that I never would have thought of. So that being said, you're starting to see supply dwindle at a lot of your local dealerships. You're just not seeing as many cars on the lot. Well, there is a reason why, but I just was not expecting this. So here's the thing. Modern vehicles require a lot of different components. I mean, and really, your car is basically a mashup of components that come from all over the world, whether you choose to believe it or not, because literally there are thousands of different components that come from different suppliers all across the globe. Even, we may have a vehicle that's basically says they're manufactured in the US, but technically they're really kind of pieced together in the US, but most of the time you're going to have other components from China and Taiwan and like really all over the place. It's just the way the world works nowadays. And whenever you have a backlog of a specific item, that can affect car production across the board, across the world it can. And unfortunately, that's what we're seeing right now. So in an article written just last month by Wired.com, I'll actually put the link to this article down below in the description, but they go on to talk about a worldwide shortage of basically semiconductors. And what people say, well, RacerX, why are semiconductors important in manufacturing modern cars? Well, they go on to talk about basically high-end graphics cards. So if you're a gamer, obviously it's going to affect you maybe even more so, because the car industry, the automotive industry, is actually not a huge consumer of these when you look at the big picture. However, semiconductors are vitally important to the finished product when you're talking about a car, because yes, while the engine might be the heart, so to speak, of your vehicle, the PCM and the TCM, the computers in your car, are the brain, and you cannot function. Modern cars just cannot function without semiconductors and the computers that run them. Ask any tuner. Basically, you're talking about everything your car does now when it comes to the transmission, when it comes to air-fuel ratios. There's a million different things I could tell you that the computers do in modern day cars. That's why tuners get paid so much money, because they know how to manipulate those things. But if you don't have the semiconductors to run the computer, that is the brain of your car, guess what? You've got essentially 4,000-pound paperweight sitting out there. So companies can't continue to put out cars without the modern computers in them to run them. So we're kind of at a standstill here. Now, while all this does get a bit convoluted, if you understand really logistics and supply chain management, you'll realize that even when you have a large product, a large expensive product like a car, just one little widget, so to speak, can make a world of difference, because without that one little widget, then all of a sudden you can't make a larger component, and without that larger component, basically it throws the entire cycle out of whack. And it really does all track back to problems with the pandemic and the coronavirus. It's just, you might have some health regulations here or there that are causing some employees not to be able to come to work, and, so on and so forth. And as we know, it all snowballs, it all runs downhill. And before you know it, you've got a big, billion-dollar plants shutting down, and it affects an entire industry, which is just, it's incredible how all that works. So what can we expect? Well, while we're already starting to see supply dwindle just a little bit at some of our local dealerships, my prediction is that we're not really going to see the impact of this particular shutdown at our Mopar dealerships, I would say, for a few weeks now, maybe 2 to 3 weeks. We're really going to start to see supply come down, because as we know, these auto manufacturers, they make these cars, they sit on the lots for a little while, there's a little bit of testing that happens, and I got to put them on a truck and send them out. So right now, they're still kind of running through some of the supply that's already out there sitting at the manufacturing facilities. But of course, as we know, if the plants are shut down, that supply will dwindle and dwindle, and then all of a sudden, like I said, give it a couple of weeks and you're going to start to see the supply really start to dwindle at your local your Mopar dealerships. Now, if you're in the market for, a GT, or you're wanting a Scat Pack or a Hellcat or whatever else, now might be a good time to pick it up, because it's going to be pretty hard to come by here in the next few weeks. That being said, hopefully everything will come back to normal, but these things do take time. So, it might be a couple of months before we start to see that supply really pick back up again. Now, as I mentioned before, you're also seeing this not just affect Dodge and FCA, or Stellantis as you would call it, but I'm also seeing here that there have been impacts to both Ford and Chevrolet as well, even the European manufacturers, as I'm seeing here, Audi. I mean, they go on to talk about a lot of this stuff in this article, and this is going to be a worldwide thing that affects all of these automotive manufacturers. So don't be surprised to see some of these other groups shut down for a little while as well, while these manufacturers try and catch back up. Well, it is always kind of a bummer when this kind of crap happens. I was really hoping we were through and just done with all these shutdowns, but apparently not. So anyway, all we can do is just try and move forward, just kind of know what's coming, and just try and plan accordingly. And like I said, anytime I get news like this, I just kind of want to share it, put it out there for you guys, just be factual. If you get a chance to go check out this article, go take a look, and I will catch you guys on the next one. So until then, RacerX.